Okay, so we're going to look at stakeholders next. So stakeholders is one of those difficult things that sometimes you need to know who you're building this system for before you can actually truly nail down the features. But for some of you guys, it's going to be easier to work out, well, what is your system going to do, and then who is actually going to benefit from that. I would normally get you to write stakeholders first, but hopefully you already have an idea of who would want to use your system. And really the reason why I'm getting you to do it second after features is because when you are trying to show that it's appropriate for the needs, well, if you can link back to what you're planning to write in detail, then obviously that justification becomes a lot easier to do. Okay, so in strictly honesty, you can probably swap these two sections around. There's no requirements to have it in, stakeholders first, then features, or features and stakeholders. So the order doesn't strictly matter. It just depends on your thought process behind it, I think. So let's move into it anyway. So you need to define which groups of people are going to be using your solution. Okay, you need to try and be as clear and consider as many groups as possible rather than those simple, I'm going to use the app, I'm my stakeholder. So when you do make an app, for example, you're making a flashcard system, there might be two groups of people who would be interested in it. One would be teachers, because it might support their teaching, and then obviously the students themselves, because it helps them revise for the exams. Now, for those of you writing games, I know quite a few of you are, you do need to think about what kind of person, what kind of group of people are going to be playing the game. And a lot of people will just simply write gamers. However, that isn't necessarily going to be useful, nor is it true, okay? Because every single gamer likes different styles of games, okay? You get the more competitive gamer who might really like online multiplayer, maybe the more casual gamer who likes just playing on their mobile phone, to people maybe like story-driven games. And the list goes on, doesn't it? Everyone's got their kind of niche that they like. Therefore, you want to avoid vague groups such as young people, gamers, or everyone will like my application, because it then becomes incredibly hard to talk about why your app is suitable for them, because that is too vague. Okay, so that's the reason behind that. So we're going to be as specific as possible. So it's a good time to pause about, well, what's special about your application? Why would people want to use it? For those of you doing a game, you got to think about, well, what value does my game bring? Now, you might be you're writing a game because you're interested in it and you find this is something truly interesting, you like to code. Okay, cool, but why would people want to play it? Okay, what is it about your game will make people want to pick up and go, oh, this is a bit of fun, isn't it? I like this. What's going to make people want to do that? So if you can identify that niche that your application, your game kind of falls into, then you can start to describe that kind of stakeholder. So for example, a lot of the games you're going to make are not going to be AAA kind of platinum style games. They are going to be more along the lines of, I don't know, Candy Crush or Pac-Man or something along those lines, something simple, self-contained, casual. So you can start focusing on, well, what is a casual gamer? Okay, because a casual gamer is very different to a hardcore gamer, someone who maybe plays online gaming. Their needs and their wants are going to be very different. Okay, so you need to think about what kind of person and do some research into that. So this is kind of bad example I would normally get. So my game is aimed at young people. Young people like playing games. My game is a roguelike dungeon crawler, which is very popular amongst young people. Okay. Now straight away, young people, well, do you mean people 16, 17? Do you mean little ones? I don't see many 5-year-olds playing dungeon crawlers. Is it true that all young people like dungeon crawlers? I don't think that's true. In fact, I would imagine it's very niche even amongst young people, and I would imagine there's quite a few older people that like it as well. So this has no research into it. There's no kind of investigation into what makes the group of people play dungeon crawlers kind of unique, what kind of binds them together. So that's a bad example. So here's a better example. So straight away, I'm starting off with research. So I've researched into, what's the general demographic of gamers. So 61% of males, 63% of females play computer games based on my research. and also the age range 16 to 44. So straight away, I have a kind of guidance of who I'm going to be aiming this game at. I then kind of have that acknowledgement that gamers are different. So road games tend to be the kind of games where you pick it up, play for a bit, and you put it down. They're not to be ones you put on like a 4 or 5 hour gaming session. So we're talking about the casual game market, which is most of where you guys are going to be focusing on. So 71% of gamers are casual gamers. Therefore, it needs to appeal to that wider demographic. So I'm going to have a group of people, and I'm going to be aiming at males and females between the age 16 and 44. So I've got a broader range of people, but also I'm really focusing in on this idea it's a casual game. So I've picked out a group. Yes, it's a little vague. However, it's probably it's also narrowed down. It's better than gamers. Okay, I've done a bit of research into what I'm looking at. I've also acknowledged that idea that the type of game I'm making is not this AAA racing one, but is this casual game. So again, I've got my kind of focus in on that. Okay, so therefore, when I'm starting to design it and think about it and really kind of put it together, I'm going to think about the usability to make it more approachable for the average gamer, rather than making it really technically complicated, because then that changes my target demographic. Now, the next thing is, why might someone use your app? This is really difficult for games. I know I keep harping on about games, but it is a bit more difficult. Why would your stakeholder want to use it? Okay, so this is why being a bit more specific about the stakeholder helps, because if I'm a casual gamer, well, how am I going to be interacting with your game? Well, I'm probably going to be maybe playing on the train, or maybe I'll get home from work, have a quick half an hour before dinner. You know, I'm going to be playing in short bursts. Okay, so therefore, if I'm going to play in short bursts, how does your app make that suitable for me? Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. So what reasons do people have for using your application? Okay, why might they want to do it? So is it to have fun? Okay, cool, fine. But people can have fun in other ways. What makes it specific? So what's specific about a casual gamer that's different to a normal gamer? Well, casual gamers are going to play for a short amount of time. So they're going to want something that is immediately accessible. They don't want to have to be, going through a massive kind of leveling up scheme and really complicated dialogue and spending like 2 hours just pressing next on the dialogue. Come on, I just want to play. Casual gamers want to be in the action, within minutes. Okay, so what's the reason they want to play? And then that comes on to the next part, which is why they might do it. So let's have a look at a bad example. My stakeholders will load up my game to have fun. Okay. Now, it's the most obvious reason why people play games. However, that isn't really the reason why they'll play your game. Okay. Because fun is the motivation to pick up games in the first place. But why do people pick one game over another one? That's what we're really thinking about. So another bad example would be traders will use my app to trade in the cryptocurrency markets. Okay. And again, but why? What are they going to use your app specifically for? So better. My target stakeholders are casual gamers. This is defined as someone who does not require a large amount of invested time to play, enjoy, and win the games. Reference. Casual gamers will be playing for enjoyment, so the game needs to allow them progress without a massive time investment. Games which are more involved, like Elden Ring, would not be suitable for them. They would be looking for an objectively short game lasting no more than 30 minutes, possibly less, and one where there's a feeling of accomplishment at the end. This would be good through a higher score or leveling up a character. So I am thinking about what are the needs of my stakeholders. Okay, so I've gone beyond they want to play games, they want to have fun, to, well, why are they wanting to play games? What's their motivation? What's their kind of reason they're going to pick up a casual game over Call of Duty, for example? So we know who our stakeholders is, and we can narrow that group down. We know why they want to use your app. But why is your app appropriate for them? So if I'm a casual gamer, for example, and I want to play for half an hour, what makes your game suitable to be played in half an hour? Okay, what's going to make it short? What's going to give me that sense of accomplishment after 30 minutes that I feel like I've actually made some progress in the game? Is it that there's that kind of adaptive difficulty? Okay, is it because that's every time you play a game you get coins and you spend those coins to upgrade your character? Okay, if it's a roguelike game. So what is it about your game that makes it suitable for my needs? This is why being clear about your stakeholder, being clear about why they want your application helps this last part, which is why is my application suitable? And then you're going to link back to your features. Okay, and again, it's one of the reasons why you might want to do stakeholders after features, because you've had a chance to really think about what those features are, how they work, and then you can link back. So again, for example, I'm a casual gamer, I want to play for a short amount of time. Well, one of the features of my game is that there's a timer which lasts for 10 minutes, and at the end of 10 minutes you get your high score. Okay, therefore the game will only ever last 10 minutes, which means it's perfect for a casual gamer. Okay, so I've picked a feature out, I've said why it's appropriate for the casual gamer. So I kind of linked all of those things together. Who's my stakeholder? What problem do they have? How does my app solve it? So here's my good example moving on. So my game is designed to last for a short amount of time. It has a maximum of time of 10 minutes and the goal is to last that long, getting the highest score possible. The time limit feature allows this to be enjoyed in short bursts, meaning that there is not a huge time investment for a single playthrough. As the player moves between rooms, goes further in the dungeon, the number of enemies increases, as does the HP and damage. This gives a sliding scale of challenge to give people a reason to play again. As the score increases, as the player progresses, this gives a sense of progress. There is no leveling system as the goal is to develop the player's reaction times and not just become overpowered. This rewards skill over just repetitive gaming. Okay, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. I've said, okay, this is my stakeholder, this is why they want to play it, and this is why my app is suitable for them. Okay, that's how you get high bands. So finishing off, what do we look for? In band 1, just select and write down a stakeholder, minimum 1. Describe your stakeholder for band 2, explain who they are, explain why they might need your system, and clearly say what feature system they are going to use. And then finally, explain why your application is appropriate for them. So long and short of it, band 2, you're going to tell me, okay, what problem are you solving for them and what kind of features make it suitable. And then band 3, you're just going to justify yourself a bit more. You're going to give me that explanation, that justification behind the why it's suitable. Okay, hopefully that was useful.